Well, good morning, all. Good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. I would like to welcome you all to our webinar number 5 this year uh, from the Egypt section, Industry Ambassador, in cooperation, of course, with IEEE Region 8 Action for Industry Committee. Today, we are going to speak about from lab to land for greener Egypt. Actually, my name is Aida Sabban. I am Egypt Section Industry Ambassador and a member of Region 8 AfI Committee. And the theme here, well, it's coincide with what's is happening now in COP30 regarding sustainable energy and sustainable development and renewable energy. Allow me first to introduce John Matogu. He is a member of IEEE Region 8 Action for Industry Committee. Welcome, John. Nice having you here with us as a co-moderator for this webinar.
Thank you, Ida, and greetings, everyone. Thank you for joining this webinar where we'll be discussing interesting topics that are relevant, especially in our current context. Before we begin, as Ida mentioned, I am part of the Action for Industry Committee within IEEE Region 8. And just to give you a bit of background, why do we have an Action for Industry Committee? IEEE as an organization is a global organization that brings together people who are like-minded, who would like to advance technology for humanity. The roots actually of IEEE were in industry. And as the membership has grown over the years, a lot of the members have actually been engaged from different sectors in academia. And what we as a committee are keen to do is to grow this relevance of current IEEE members, especially those who are practicing in industry. If Ida, you will allow me just to share just a few slides rather, about how IEEE is
Yes,
collaborating
please.
and
Yes.
working closely with our members. So just please beckon me if my slides appear on the screen. Okay. So
the screen is not. It's only sharing. You are sharing your entire screen. Stop sharing, not the presentation.
Oh, not yet. Okay. Let me bring the presentation. Okay, I thought I was sharing the screen. Okay, no worries. Let me share the screen again. I just want to bring the presentation. Okay. So in my presentation, what I will be looking okay. Does the presentation come up?
Not yet.
Okay, I see the issue. Okay, thank you. Okay, and okay, but if either way, I'm happy just to talk through the content of the presentation. Sorry. So IEEE is a global organization that brings together people who are in industry. Can you see my presentation?
No, something regarding the VPN.
Oh, okay. Well, I will give up with the presentation. I will just talk through it because in any case. So IEEE, as I mentioned, has an interest to grow the engagement with the industry. And industry for IEEE are members who are working with institutions that are outside academia. So this could be a corporate company, it could be a government organization that we have members working in. And the idea is to increase the offering or increase the value proposition for members who are in industry to continue collaborating. In addition to the way IEEE is structured, we have got different categories of members. We've got students who are currently in training, and then those who are recent graduates and who are looking to join the industry. We refer to them as young or early professional. And as industry practitioners, we have the opportunity to contribute to the growth of these new members. And as volunteers who are in the Action for Industry Committee, we're looking at increasing this collaboration between the industry members and those who are, for example, in their training or just recent graduates, and also providing opportunities for those who are in industry to continue with their knowledge and in terms of their professional development, and creating opportunities where IEEE can provide benefits to the members who are in industry. And there are a number of those that we've actually been able to establish. So through the Action for Industry Committee, we advocate for this kind of engagements, and we have a number of corporates who are actually collaborating with different IEEE sections, and together are actually able to produce programs that are valuable both to the members who are in those corporates, the corporate organization themselves, and also to other IEEE member groups. And this kind of programs would include, for example, mentorship opportunities for the members who are experienced members who are in industry, can mentor the young and upcoming engineers. You've got programs for internships where companies or organizations can actually tap into talent that is coming out from the IEEE industry, IEEE student network, and many other programs that we can define as we go forward. So as the Action for Industry Committee, we are very eager and ready to collaborate with industry partners to grow the benefits for IEEE members, and also to our corporate members. This aligns very closely to the IEEE Region 8 strategy for the last few years, from 2020 up to current 2025, which is looking at actually providing members an experience that is valuable for their professional life, making sure that everyone is welcome and finds the relevant services and offering from IEEE. For those who are IEEE volunteers, giving them new channels for volunteering and to engage with their interests, and then also to improve our presence in underserved communities. As you know, many interest groups within IEEE actually aim at working with underserved groups. So IEEE here is ready and looking forward to collaborating with our industry partners, and we are ready to reach out for you. Please feel free to connect with myself, to Ida, and other colleagues who are in the Action for Industry Committee to do so. With that, Ida, let me pause here and hand it over back to you. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Thank you for this introduction. And allow me now to explain what's going to happen during the rest of this webinar. We have two distinguished speakers, one from academia and one from industry. We are going to have two successive sessions for them, and then followed by a Q&A session. So please feel free to put your questions, whether for this session of the first one or the second one, in the chat box, and we will get back to you during the Q&A session by John and me. Now, allow me to introduce Dr. Sameh Oussama Abdelatif. He is an associate professor in College of Engineering in the British University in Egypt. Welcome, Dr. Sameh. Feel free to introduce yourself and the presentation. Welcome, and thank you for accepting the invitation.
Thank you very much, Dr. Aida. Thank you all for this great pleasure and honor to be with you today. Let me now start sharing my screen. So I believe that you now can see my slides. That's right?
Yes, yes.
That's great. Okay. So again, thank you very much for such a great honor and pleasure to be with you today. Definitely thanks to the board, special thanks to Dr. Aida Sabban, who personally invited me to this talk. And of course, I'm really honored and pleasure to be part of a webinar with our distinguished lecturer, Professor El-Khayat, one of the leaders, not only in Egypt, but maybe in the region, for the renewable energy technology. During the next, hopefully 25 minutes, I will try to give some brief illustration about part of the technology we are trying to fabricate and characterize, mainly toward the perovskite solar cells and Dyson-sized solar cells, in terms of our previous experience as well as some of our future perspectives. So the presentation will mainly include four main pillars. First, I will give a very short introduction about who we are as a research group, our research identity, our theme, and so on, and as well as actually our resources and the facilities. Then I will go into the main part of the presentation, which our focus today. I will give more focus toward perovskite solar cell and some little dose of Dyson-sized solar cell. Then we're going to the main focus, which is a specific application related to perovskite and Dyson-sized solar cell, which mainly related to the energy harvesting of diffused light and low intensity light. And finally, I'm going to show you some future and ongoing perspectives we are currently working with. We are a research group in the British University in Egypt under the title of Electronics Fab Lab. It's roughly about 7 to 8 years research group. So relatively, we are a young research group. We started in late 2017, early 2018. When we think first about the identity of this research group, our focus was how we can fulfill this, how we can fulfill this three main pillar: to fabricate, to characterize, to model, and to simulate. In many developing countries, while doing research, one of the main obstacles we face as a researcher is the capability to fabricate electronics and solid-state devices in general. And here, mainly, we are considering solar cells in specific. This is simply because the core material used in fabricating these devices is, as you definitely know, is silicon. And it's not very easy to accommodate an environment that is capable to synthesize, deposit, and fabricate silicon. This is need, as you definitely know, clean room environment. And this clean room environment is not available everywhere. So our research identity was toward how we can pick up some of alternative electronic and optoelectronic devices that can be fabricated far from clean room. That's why our main identity was to fabricate electronic devices, solid-state devices, optoelectronic devices, with a controlled room environment, but without a clean room facilities. And using this research identity, we successfully have completed the full fabrication, characterization, and modeling for a set of devices, including but not limited to perovskite solar cells, Dyson-sized solar cells, some sort of biosensors like troponin as a coordinate protein biosensor, glucose biosensors, also some sort of an organic field effect transistors. In terms of energy harvesting, we also have some attempts with thermoelectrical energy harvesters, mainly based on carbon nanotube, graphene, and graphite, and also some attempts with piezoelectrical energy harvesters using BZT and also using barium titanate. But as you can see in this upper circle, it's not only about fabrication. Another important facility needed is the characterization process. And when we consider characterization, of course, here the word characterization may diverse to different types of characterization. It can be in the form of a morphological, physiochemical characterization, which somehow available in Egypt and fortunately available in our university, as we have a nanotechnology center which can offer us a lot of facilities. But here, when we consider the word characterization, we mainly mean optical and electronic characterization. And in this direction, the main important parameter needed for the characterization of solar cells is what we call solar simulators. Fortunately, we already have gathered as a seed fund to build our lab, mainly with two STDF project. The first was a combined STDF British Council fund under the call of Newton Musharraf. I think it's no longer available. And the second was still an STDF fund. And these two funds provide almost about 3 million Egyptian pounds in order to start the lab. However, we still was restricted due to the very high cost of the solar simulator to persuade solar simulator using these funds. That's why we start to think about to build our characterization environment. And across the 8 years of our research group, we have successfully built 4 main characterization setups. We started first with an LED-based solar simulator. It's called a Class C. Usually when you calibrate solar simulator, you calibrate it with 3 letters, for example, AAA, BBB, CCC, ABC, whatever. These 3 letters indicates the temporal stability, the spectral mismatch, and the uniformity. So we start with an LED-based solar simulator, which is a calibrated Class C, and here we use a calibrated solar cell, from Newport in order to calibrate our solar simulator. Then we go to a 4-prop station, which is still also one of the very important devices you need to characterize electronic devices. Not only electronic devices, but even electronic material, as you are going to see in the next few slides, when we start to scan the morphological variation of the surface resistance of different materials. So we use our 4-prop station. And there was another edge with these 4-prop stations that it is an AI based. So you don't need to classify the material of the device. There is a classification model in the back end which is capable to distinguish the device. For example, if you are characterizing a BGT and a MOSFET, the software itself is capable to distinguish that this is a BGT and this is a MOSFET, and then it can also pre-process this data to calculate, for example, threshold voltage or saturation current or whatever the data you need for your device. Also, we go with another attempt with an AI-based devices to fabricate a PCB drilling machine. It's more toward educational purpose because usually our junior students are facing some difficulties in order to lay out and route the PCB. So the main purpose of this was to automatically transfer the schematic file .sch into a layout file capable to be manufactured using the PCB drilling machine, which is fully automated. And finally, our younger baby was still a solar simulator, but in this type we use xenon lamp in a form of an optical cavity with 6 xenon lamps in order to reach a Class A solar simulator. What's also interesting for this younger baby is that also this is an industrial-based project. So we make this project as an R&D edge for one of our industrial partners. It names REDS technology, and we successfully calibrated this, and this work is currently under publication. Okay, so far from the Fab Lab and its facility, let's go now to the main idea of this presentation, which considering maybe 2 keywords: perovskite solar cells and its utilization under diffused or low intensity light. So let's now start to explore the first keyword, which is perovskite solar cell. Here we have to return back maybe 100 years ago when when the literature first introduced the word photovoltaic. The word photovoltaic is considering the process of converting photon into voltage. And the main idea was described that the material that is targeted to do such a photovoltaic effect should perform 3 main tasks. First, it should be a semiconductor with a band gap that is capable to collect the photon and generate an electron hole pair. Second, this electron hole pair, each of the carrier will move in its direction. So usually we have a drift due to the p-n junction, and then electron is drifted to one electrode and the hole is drifted to the second electrode. Across around 70, 60 years, we used to make this using a single material, starting, of course, with the most famous material, which is silicon, going into different technologies, considering gallium arsenide and different materials that can be used for fabricating solar cells. Maybe in the late 80s, a guy called Gratzel started to think about a different way. He started to think, what if we split the tasks? What if we, instead of having one material that do everything, let's make it into 3 different materials. So instead of having a silicon material that's absorb light, move or drift electron and drift holes, let's do it in another way, that we have a specific material that is only functionalized to absorb light, which we will call it between quotation absorber. And let's choose another medium where the mobility of the electron is maximized, which we will call it the ETL, or the electron transport layer. And let's have a third material where the whole mobility is really dominating, and let's call it a HTL, or whole transport media layer. So instead of having one semiconductor material doing everything, we are going to split this into 3 different semiconductors, as you can see in the right-hand figure. In this case, we start to think about a series of solar cells, not only the perovskite, but even the dozen-size solar cells, and also organic and different types of solar cells that can be implemented using this concept introduced in the late 80s. Let's go mainly to our target, which is perovskite solar cell. In the perovskite solar cell, we have an arrangement of different materials, starting from the upper electrode. Basically, the upper electrode of a solar cell should be a transparent material, because otherwise this will obstacle light to reach the main target, which is the absorbing layer. In this case, usually we use what we call the TCO family, or the transparent conducting oxides family. One of these famous TCO members is the FTO, or the fluorine doped tin oxide. Most likely, this is the most used upper electrode in perovskite solar cell and in different types of solar cell in literature. We should go now to the ETL, or the electron transport layer. However, recently, some research start to think about what we can call an interlayer, which is a facilitating layer between the upper electrode and the ETL, or the electron transport layer. In literature, you can find different collections. So, for example, here in this manuscript, we use LIG, or laser-induced graphene, as a 2D material in order to make an interlayer between the FTO and the ETL. Other researchers are using molybdenum disulfide. Some things about the 2D structure of the mesoporous titanium dioxide itself, which we will use it in the next slide as an ETL. So it's a combination, or it's not a combination, it's different alternatives with different trade-offs. Then we go to one of the very interesting layers, which is the ETL. Again, in literature, you can find different alternatives for ETL, or for electron transport layer. But for me, one of the very interesting alternatives is the mesoporous titanium dioxide. And herein, I think the word mesoporous is extremely important, related to the scattering effect that can be dominating in such solar cell. In our case, in the perovskite solar cell, scattering is a very good phenomenon, because when the light entering the solar cell scatters with high angles, this angle elongates the optical path length of the light inside the absorbing medium, as you can see in the top left figure. And accordingly, this increases the probability of absorption. And this should highlight a very important quotation in our mind, that perovskite solar cells facilitate the scattering mechanism of light. And this will be reflected maybe in the end of the presentation when we turn to the applications of the perovskite solar cell. A second important ray, of course, is the perovskite layer itself. There is a huge family of perovskite material, but in our lab, we are mainly focusing with the cesium lead halide family. We are still attempting to also consider different types of perovskite, but as I mentioned earlier in the presentation, it's mainly about the limitation in the fabrication process. So we are just trying to work it around in order to fabricate as much as possible of semiconductors without using very sophisticated equipment, like, for example, the need of a glove box, for example, in order to synthesize organic perovskites, for example. And then we have what we call the ETL, or the HTL, or the whole transport layer. Again, alternatives are offered in the literature. The most famous one is Spiro. However, nickel oxide also show a very good capability when we integrate it in our perovskite solar cells as well. Finally, let's go to the back electrode. in general, there is a different alternative that can use for the back electrode of the perovskite solar cell. It can be a symmetric solar cell. And what I mean by a symmetric solar cell is to simply use FTO in the front and in the back of the solar cell. So this is the solution. And we usually call it as a symmetric solar cell. But in most cases, this is not the ideal solution. Because as we described previously, FTO is a transparent material. So when you add a transparent material in the back side of the solar cell, you facilitate light to escape outside of your solar cell. And definitely you don't need to. Your counter electrode should have very high conductivity because it's an electrode. And also it should show some reflection capabilities, or you can say between quotation, backward scattering mechanisms, in order to trap light inside the active layer. Here we have tried a lot of alternatives. I'm going to show it to you. Starting with black carbon nanotubes, this with a very good conductivity, but not super reflection. We also tried different configurations of LEG, or laser-induced graphene, where we have combinations of different processing material in the LEG in order to maximize the backward scattering, as you can see in the right-hand side, the left-hand side of the graph. And also, one of the very important aspects here is what we can call the band gap engineering, how you can manage the band gap of the materials connected together to be aligned in order not to obstacle your carrier transport. And this is one of the very important challenges while you arranging your solar cell. Here we start to jump to a new area. If you remember my second or third slide, I mentioned that our identity that we are far from silicon. Between quotations, we can say that we are anti-silicon. Of course, this is not true. We are not anti-silicon. But here we start to think about what if we start to fabricate the perovskite solar cells on silicon wafers. It's not only to integrate silicon, but also it's a target of considering perovskite solar cells as a CMOS compatible devices. So here we have 3 attempts we have already published. The first is using silicon wafers itself, a highly doped B-type silicon wafers, to use it itself as a counter electrode. It has a medium conductivity with good reflection capabilities. Second and third, to use standard electrodes like aluminum and copper, but still over a silicon wafer, as you can see in the graphs. And here are some arrangements that you can see for our scanning electron microscope images that show the arrangement of different materials as we go. And here is our IV characteristic curves for these 4 types of solar cells, while having the energy band diagram arrangement for these materials arranged together. I think you should now ask me a very critical question. We totally know that silicon is the dominating material in this market. It's extremely difficult and extremely challenging to think about to be a competitor to silicon. It's not only about efficiency, because tandem cells, multi-junction solar cells, and even some perovskite solar cells have showed very good or acceptable power conversion efficiency with respect to silicon, but it's related to a complete package, including the efficiencies, the sustainability or the lifetime, the mass production, which affect the cost, and so on. So maybe I will ask myself a question. Do we think that perovskite solar cells, or these types of solar cells in general, can be a competitor to silicon? I can see that a lot of literature say that yes, maybe in the future or in the near future, perovskite solar cell can be a competitor to silicon. But if I have to answer this question, I will say no. Perovskite is not a head-to-head or peer-to-peer competitor to silicon. The idea is to tackle a new market share where silicon is not the ranked one, is not the ranked one solution. And here we introduce this interesting triangle, what we call the TED concept. So usually when we consider silicon, we only considering the right side of the triangle, which is the power conversion efficiency, which is again very important and added value for silicon. But in some application, it's not only about conversion efficiency. It might happen that there are some factors that can or that should be introduced in your solar cell where silicon cannot offer. For example, transparency. Sometimes we need to fabricate a semi-transparent solar cells. For example, if you hear about the word photovoltaic window, when you need to connect or manage a window, a normal window, either in your car or in your building, that it's not only a window, but it's also some sort of an energy harvester that produces energy. Here, it's definitely easier to make such a semi-transparent solar cells using perovskites or Dyson-sized solar cell rather than to make it using silicon. Another important point is silicon usually seek for orthogonal incident light. That's why in the basic solar cell knowledge, we hear about what, for example, the tracking mechanisms. When you hear about single axial and double axial tracking mechanism, these mechanisms are acting toward ensure an orthogonal incident light over the silicon so that we can ensure maximum efficiency. But what about light coming in a diffused way? For example, when we consider, I will mention this later on in the next few slides, when we consider underwater energy harvesting, for example. In underwater energy harvesting, it's almost impossible to ensure orthogonal light incident to the solar cell. Or in different indoor light harvesting, we hear now about the term self-powered sensors in the wireless sensor networks, IoT nodes, for example. Again, herein, it's very challenging to ensure either sunlight, because it's an indoor application, or an orthogonal or a perpendicular light. So in such an application, it might come that perovskite solar cells and Dyson-sized solar cells and other types like organic and flexible solar cells, it might be better to use with respect to silicon. So for example, let's see some example. Here, our semi-transparent solar cell. You can see the cell itself on the left-hand side, and you can see our simulation for the utilization of this cell on a scale of an electrical vehicle under different angle of incidence, or on the scale of an smart buildings with glass surroundings. So you can see that, I'm not sure if you can read these numbers, but this can show you the estimated power extracted from these energy harvesters, along with different angle of incidence from the sunrise up to the sunset for different applications. So herein, to have a decorative, as you can see on the right-hand side, it's not so decorative actually, but it can be in the future more and more decorative, and also energy efficient to some extent, of course, light harvesters. This might be interesting in what we can call building integrated photovoltaic or BIPV, or even in the utilization with electrical vehicles. Another application where you can see here what we call our smart underwater fish, which is an ongoing project we are targeting to initiate in order to have underwater nodes that is capable to harvest light using either the artificial lighting in the aquariums, in the fish aquariums itself, or in different light penetrating coming from the sun, how to harvest this light under different distance, and how to can use this harvested light to power your IoT node, because mostly one of the very main challenges with the IoT nodes is its limited lifetime due to the limited lifetime of the battery. So now you can elongate your IoT node underwater, for example, for this purpose. Another application is what we can call SoCs, or sensor on a chip. Typically here we consider the self-powered sensor on a chip. So this is another important application where we can use perovskite solar cells. Again, here, if we use the capability of having CMOS-based perovskite solar cells, so you can have all in a chip technology for this purpose. And one of our ongoing tasks or ongoing projects is also to use it in what we call organ on a chip. Organ on chip is extremely booming these days because it will definitely facilitate drug testing. And we already start working on lung on a chip, and we have a publication under review in this direction, where we use still some sort of solar cells in order to power reaching what we can call a self-powered organ on chip. Again, it's also very booming with the artificial pancreases for diabetics. Also, this is one of the very interesting applications. Let's finally, in a very quick manner, because I think I am toward to exceed my limited time, so I apologize for that. So I am going to quickly show you some of our ongoing and future tracks, mainly toward the utilization of AI and typically machine learning in the implementation and forecasting of these new technologies of solar cells. So in one hand, you can use machine learning in order to study the fabrication process of the perovskite solar cells. We call this devices and the materials informatics. So when you fabricate solar cell, in this case perovskite solar cell, there are a lot of parameters that impact the process. One of the very key advantages of using machine learning is to start to investigate the important level of this process. For example, what if we dope the perovskite material? What if we dope the ETL or the HTL? To what extent this will affect the power conversion efficiency? Here, using machine learning is very, very, very facilitating the process of understanding the impact of different parameters. Another extremely important parameter is the degradation profile over time, which we can say in a lower voice that this is the weaker point in perovskite and less-tensile solar cell. So one of the ways to study the degradation mechanisms in perovskite solar cells and less-tensile solar cells is using machine learning. Here we used LSTM, or long short-term memory, in two different applications in order to study less-tensile solar cells and perovskite solar cell degradation mechanisms. Another integration for AI, this is maybe towards system level. This is a running project with one of our industrial partners in order to classify the level of dust in solar modules, in solar energy modules. So you can first classify if your panels are dusty or not, then the level of dust, then which action should you take? Should you go to dry cleaning? Should you go to wet cleaning? This is a fully automatic system that doesn't need any human interface. It's only about having a camera directed to the cell with a back-end cloud classification and regression model, and then you can have a lot of critical decisions. Finally, this will be my final maybe ongoing project. We are currently also working toward building a VR environment to emulate our fabrication process. So instead of going into the lab to fabricate, you as a student, you can just use your VR headset and you can go inside our lab and you can do different types of experiments. This is some sort of an educational, of course, purpose. And we are also doing this with one of our industrial partners. Finally, to conclude, we have successfully published around 145 publications in the previous 8 years in this track, with one patent. And as you can see, with the diversity backgrounds, we have we actually honored and very thankful to have three main really good industrial partners, starting with Beatty, GSM, and RIDS. So a lot of these projects are funded and sponsored and even directed using them. So we have to thank them. Definitely, I have to thank my colleagues. Fortunately, I have 75 very, very, very smart, genius, and helpful colleagues who are doing great job in order to do some of these achievements, if you can consider them as achievement. And finally, I have to thank you very much for your concentration, and I really apologize if I exceed my time limit. Thank you very much.
Very interesting presentation. I'm sure we'll have some questions at the end. For me, I also have some questions, so please stay tuned for the Q&A session. Thank you again. Secondly, we are now heading to the second session, and I'm honored to have Dr. Mohamed Mostafa El-Khayat. And thank you very much, Dr. Mohamed, for accepting my invitation. Dr. Mohamed is one of the most important energy and environment experts in Egypt. And he is an author and renewable energy advisor for the NREA New and Renewable Energy Agency. So I will leave the floor to you, Dr. Mohamed, to introduce yourself and give us your presentation. Thank you again.
Thank you very much, Dr. Aida, and really I'm honored to be among all of these distinguished group, and really I do appreciate the invitation to join. Also, thanks a lot for Nihal, John, and Dr. Sameh. I'm so admired to join, really. I will give you an overview regarding the renewable energy status in Egypt. Okay. Is it okay for you to see the slides?
Yes, no? Yes, we can see it.
Okay.
Yes.
Consequently, we will speak today about an overview of renewable energy in Egypt. One of the beauty issues is really when we discussing about the renewable energy market in Egypt, we can see a lot of common angles with the African countries, with the Arab countries, due to a lot of issues, frankly speaking, the abundance of natural resources, either we are speaking about solar or wind, also almost the common culture which connects all of us. So consequently, I do appreciate once we have this overview to give you a benefit which could fit with your experience and also your needs. In Egypt, the target is to have more than 40% of renewable energy by the year 2030. And in this regard, there are different schemes and policies already implemented or under implementation. This is totally coupled with the market dynamics. Which one of them could be applied? Does it competitive bidding, feed-in tariff, EPC, whatever? And this will be discussed in details in the coming slides. First, for any country to start investing in renewable energy, it must know where are the potential resources. Either we are speaking about solar or wind. In Egypt, we have two atlases. One covers all of Egypt regarding the potential sources for solar, and another one for wind. And by the way, both of them are available in our website, which I will mention in the last slide, which you can download the full document for them, because starting from both of them, we can define where are the rich areas, which, for example, rich with wind or solar. And for the wind, the one in left, we can see the red and the magenta colors around the Red Sea area, which enjoys with the highest wind speed in Egypt, and maybe also in the region, because the wind
Dr.
speed
Mohamed,
is over
sorry,
the...
we are still in the first slide.
Okay.
Yes.
One?
Yes. Legal
okay.
framework. Yes.
Okay.
Legal framework.
Sorry,
okay.
This one regarding the targets. Okay. seems okay.
Yes. Vision, targets,
Okay.
policies. Yes.
Okay. Both of them regarding the atlases for wind and solar, which I already mentioned. Okay. Renewable energy in numbers in Egypt, New and Renewable Energy Authority has more than 30 years of experience. The total capacities already in operation is now 8.3 gigawatt installed capacities. We have more than 3 gigawatt under construction and more than 13 gigawatt under development. Areas allocated for renewable energy, almost we are speaking about more than 43,000 square kilometers, huge areas, and it differs according to the sites for solar and wind, and consequently which one could fit with the appropriate technology. The total energy production is from renewable energy only is more than or around 27 terawatt hour. To go deeply for different technologies for solar energy, we are speaking about almost 2.6 or 2.7 gigawatt installed capacities, and you can say that the majority of such projects are owned and operated by the private sector, which means that Egypt is one of the most interesting and attractive markets for the private sector to come and invest in renewable energy. Such projects regarding the solar, and we have another 2 gigawatt under construction, and by the way, the projects under development is around 4 gigawatt. In addition to that, for the wind energy, we have almost 3 gigawatt, almost 50-50 between the public and the private, but in the pipelines, the projects under construction is totally owned by private sector. Consequently, this will take also the same trend for more private sector projects in Egypt for wind. This could give you an indication regarding the development of renewable energy in Egypt during the last 5 years. You can say there is a significant increase year by year. Maybe the year 24-25 witnessed the frogly almost more than 2 gigawatt added within only 1 year. One of the main advantages of renewable energy in Egypt that we have a portfolio covers water or hydropower, wind energy, solar energy, and also biomass. This map gives you an indication regarding the sites allocated for renewable energy. As I mentioned, we are speaking about more than 43,000 square kilometers, huge areas. You can see different areas. For the Red Sea area, this is for wind, West and East Nile banks, for both wind and solar. In the Upper Egypt, we have also sites which could host wind and solar energy projects. This for sure gives Egypt the advantage to fulfill a significant percentage from its needs of electricity from renewable energy, and having more and more reliability on renewable energy in the project. Frankly speaking, based on the experience that we already have in Egypt, we have projects already applied through the scheme engineering, procurement, and construction, totally owned by public sector, represented by New and Renewable Energy Authority. We can find wind and solar. In addition to feed-in tariff, which based on this we already implemented Bimban Solar Complex, which is one of the most iconic projects all over the world. It awarded 3 international prizes due to having 32 projects in one area. The capacity of this complex is more than 1,400 megawatt, and having also for the wind projects along the Gulf of Suez more than 3 gigawatt of projects in one of the most promising areas, which enjoys with high wind speed. Based on this, we have market dynamics in Egypt, and we can classify the market dynamics according to different angles. One of them is green hydrogen, and all over the world, the green hydrogen production or demand almost ranges around 100 million tons, almost coming from both natural gas and coal, and consequently, there is a demand now for the green hydrogen. We do believe that green hydrogen market is still not matured yet. It might be 5-6 years to get more maturity, but for Egypt, we already established a strategy for having a vision for the green hydrogen to attract more investment, to pave the way in front of having green energy, green hydrogen projects, and get the benefit of the unique location of Egypt, in addition to the abundant natural resources. The second one, which is more significant and one of the most important dimensions in Egypt, because as a country we are suffering from the shortage of potable water. According to the international definition, the poverty line is 1,000 cubic meter per year per capita. In Egypt, we are almost below 500. Consequently, it is a critical situation. One of the issues that we are working on it is water desalination technologies to have water desalination power plants along Red Sea and the Mediterranean coasts, which could be powered by renewable energy sources, and consequently it could cover a portion from our needs. But for sure, the status for potable water is one of the most challenging topics in Egypt. This is a plan to have projects up to year 250 from water desalination to cover partially part of our national needs until the 2050. The third pillar for the market dynamics is electrical vehicles. Now we have a growing up market. The total selling of electric vehicles during 2024 is more than $10 billion US, and it is a growing market. Consequently, one of the issues that we are planning is to feed the electric vehicles through renewable energy projects. This for sure will be allocated in different sites and to be connected with the national grid and having what we can say a net metering system to feed the charging locations or stations along the country. And this is one of the most emerging topics, and we have now a specific tariff regarding the charging for the electric vehicles. As far as the title of our webinar today is From Lab to Practice or something like this, it is very important to share some information regarding the market and the data for renewable energy in Egypt. Through this website, NREA.gov.eg, you can download, by the way, the Atlas for solar and wind. Also, you can get the annual reports for the renewable energy market. In addition to that, NREA issuing a periodical pamphlet or we call it NREA meter. It gives you an indication regarding the renewable energy market in Egypt in quarterly basis. It covers both public and the private sector projects and the development in the renewable energy market. By this, I reach the last slide. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you again, Dr. Aida, Dr. Nihal, and John, and Dr. Sameh. Thank you very much for all of you.
Thank you, Dr. Mohamed, for this very interesting presentation and numbers. I like numbers. So giving an idea about what is happening in Egypt is actually a very interesting, especially for, I see lots of presentations about renewable energy, solar and wind, but about water desalination and green hydrogen, it's really interesting, these areas of topics. So thank you again. And John, would you like to start the Q&A session, please?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Sameh, Dr. Mohamed, for the insightful presentations, and also inviting, I use this opportunity also to invite any questions that may be coming in from the audience that is online. Please feel free to put in your messages in the chat. One question that I believe this was for Dr. Sameh. Theoretically, how could we harvest light underwater for the fish toy?
Okay, thank you very much. So in principle, there is nothing theoretically obstacle to work underwater. It's only the idea of changing the medium. So whenever it's still having air, you have water, so you have to go with the light propagation inside the water, the angles of deviation. Maybe also it's more toward a diffused light, not toward a dark light. When I contact those who are working with aquariums and fish industry, I have been noted that usually the depth of the aquariums is not high. It's only about 1 meter to 1.5 meter. Under such depths, it's still possible to harvest light coming from the sun. So this is one solution. In addition, and due to the life cycle of the fish itself, they are also using artificial lighting. So this is also another way in order to use the artificial lighting in the aquariums to harvest light. I hope that I can answer, or this can answer the question.
All right, thank you very much for that, Dr. Sameh. And that was a question coming from Omar. So Omar. I'm not sure if Aida, you can have a bit of a interference.
Yes. Well, actually, I have, if I may, I have some question. There is another question in the chat. What are your ongoing projects for perovskite solar cells? I believe this is Dr. Sameh.
Okay,
right?
so
I think
yes.
so.
Okay, so I think we are working in different directions. So we are still working with engaging more perovskite materials, seeking for better power conversion efficiency. We start to work about sustainability or working hours. So in order to elongate the working hours, we work also with the utilization of machine learning and AI algorithms in general. And finally, we work also on the system level, as you can see in my last slides, when we consider, for example, self-powered sensors and self-powered organ on a chip and something like that. So it's more toward the system level rather than a device enhancement or optimization.
Okay, hope this answers you, Engineer Mohammed. John, the third question.
Thank you for that, Dr. Sam. So another question here coming in. Are projects from the private sector from solar to wind to hydrogen connected to the national grid here in Egypt?
Projects are under development, and we have two types of projects, by the way. Projects which we call it brownfield and greenfield. Brownfield means that we have already factories producing hydrogen or ammonia, and they are connected directly with the network. Consequently, they can share or have a specific consumption from renewable energy, which covers a specific amount of its consumption from electricity, and this is totally grid connected. The other part for the green hydrogen, until now, the projects are disconnected or not connected with the, it is planned, yani, not connected with the grid, and it must be aligned with the what we can say the EU regulations, because EU one of the potential beneficiaries for renewable energy.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. On a personal note, because within IEEE and because of my initiatives in collaborating with industry, do you see any opportunities for some of our young members, the young professionals, those who are still in engineering courses, to participate in some of this work that you are doing for Dr. Sameh and also for Dr. Mohamed?
May I start? Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Yani, for the students or researchers, we have yani, an open channel, and they have different angles, frankly speaking. Usually, we have what we call it in-kind training. It is just fully covered training, and usually we have 500 to 600 candidates to be trained per year. Usually we receive almost 1,500 requests, but the capacity is 500 to 600. We have different training and capacity building programs. This is one. Another dimension is the relation with the academia. To have a joint venture or to build a consortium and participate in research projects, either locally or internationally funded. The third pillar is regarding the workshops and webinar and awareness campaigns in different levels, starting from the schools and visits to the renewable energy sites and testing labs, in addition to the international conferences. So they already have such integration.
Thank you. Very, very interesting opportunities. Dr. Sameh?
Okay, so we are actually integrating students in our research in three different ways. First, we are somehow in the summer we are providing a condensed training. We did it each year with different theme. For example, 2 years ago, we do it in the form of AI utilization in optimizing solar cells, for example. So in each year, in each summer, we provide an opportunity for a condensed 2-3 weeks training for different facilities in our lab. The second model is internships. We usually provide internships, and maybe in our last call, we provided an industrial-based internship. So we have an internship with one of our industrial partners, which is GSM. And the third one is it's an open volunteering platform. So whenever we have researchers, graduates, or undergraduates who are willing to work together, we will be totally free and totally open to engage different ideas. And we have a lot of success stories in this way, where we have volunteer researchers coming from different countries in different cities, actually in Egypt, and even different countries. So we have currently students who are working with us from Libya, from Algeria, and we are doing a good way of collaboration.
This is very exciting because I think, for like I was mentioning before, we have got as an IEEE organization members, I believe, who could benefit from a collaboration. And in this case, we are privileged because Ida is actually one of our committee members, and she could reach out and propose a collaboration to make these connections.
Yes.
Another question I would ask, again, now just flipping this, how would you see yourself or colleagues that you work with benefit from collaborating with an organization like IEEE? What would you like to, let's say, receive or benefit from engaging with IEEE? Again, both to Dr. Mohamed and also to Dr. Sameh. Do you want to begin, Dr. Mohamed?
I think it will be better if Dr. Sameh continue his answer.
Okay. Dr. Sameh, what do you?
It's a pleasure, Professor Mohamed. Okay, so I think maybe there is two weak points whenever we are doing such an event. The first is the networking, and the second is the organization. Because simply we are not professional in doing such 2 points. We don't have a wide network, and we don't have the facilities for organization. So what I maybe expect from IEEE is a way of collaboration that can provide a big networking, so that we can engage different students from different backgrounds and even graduates, as you mentioned, YPs, and also the way of organizing and scheduling these events and so on, because usually we do this as a volunteering in a non-professional way. However, I think if it comes from the IEEE side, it will be more professional.
Okay, thank you for that. Dr. Mohamed, any thoughts from your end?
Thank you. Thank you very much. The main benefit for renewable energy market, not only frankly speaking in Egypt, but all over the world from IEEE is IEEE standards. As far as we have solar panels, we have solar energy, we have wind energy, we have biomass, whatever the technology, there are standards which governing and define the technical criteria which must be used, or the appropriate one. This is a very important issue in relation with IEEE. In addition to that, what we can say, the new products from the R&D market, which could be governed by the IEEE, also capacity building, the conferences and activities, all of these issues, I do believe also could have a hand in cooperation between renewable energy market in any country, not only in Egypt, and also IEEE. Thank you.
Okay, excellent. Thank you very much. Already I can see a good basis for proposing a collaboration
Yes.
with both of your organizations. So, this is actually what we as the Action for Industry Committee aim to do, and also setting up virtual webinars like this, where we can have knowledge sharing and experience sharing. I think is something that is critical for us. Ida, back to you.
Thank you, John. Well, I have also a couple of personal questions to you, please. Well, for Dr. Mohamed, I am wondering, do we have any agreements between Egypt and the neighboring countries regarding renewable energy, or a cooperation regarding this, or it's not in the scope right now, or what's the status for this?
What do you mean, agreement?
Agreement, for example, for maybe electricity transfer, or I mean cooperation in the area of renewable energy. I don't have specific thing in my mind, but knowing that we have the highest, maybe the highest area in wind or solar and this, so I believe this can be an interest point to cooperate with our neighboring countries. So I was wondering, is this in the scope or not?
First, thank you very much for the question, but we have different levels of cooperation, frankly speaking. The first one is regarding the interconnection between Egypt and neighboring countries. We have a direct interconnection with from west with Libya, from south with Sudan, from east the transmission line is now under construction between Egypt and Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and it is expected to get into in operation by end of 2026. In addition to that, there are different routes are under studies: Egypt, Greece, Egypt, Cyprus. These are under studies to get the optimum benefit for all countries. This is regarding the direct connection. The second one, what we can call it, is cooperation programs between Egypt and different countries. And frankly speaking, we have different examples and exercises in this regard. With African countries, we have a lot. With Arab countries, we have a lot. With even European countries, we have a lot of such cooperation programs, and it differs. Does it for implementing projects? It could be also for testing. It could be also for capacity building. There are different dimensions, but this is already exists, and for sure. And this is to stress with your point of view, as far as we have more and more cooperation with neighboring countries, for sure the benefit will be for all parties, not for only one party. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Mohamed. Okay, regarding you, Dr. Sameh, I noticed, and I'm very happy to see that many of your projects is a collaboration between the academia and the industry, which is totally aligned with our objectives. So I see that one of your projects is the probe station, and it is, I believe you already got the approval for it to be patent, or not yet, or it's in the process, I don't know. But do you have a plan for this in order to commercialize this with like an industry or something, or just a question regarding the industry side as well?
Okay, thank you, Dr. Aida. So for the probe station, we are in the final stages of having a final patent, inshallah. Considering the concept of collaboration with industry partner, definitely the part of the commercialization is mostly on the side of the partner, not on our side, actually. So the process or the cycle starts with that the partner introduced a problem. We start together to solve. We reach a final output. Then we start to legalize this output in terms of calibration, in terms of patenting or copyrights or whatever, it depends on the time. And maybe the final part of commercialization, still we are doing some effort in it, but I would say that the bigger part is going into the industrial partner itself, because they have the know-how, let me say, in order to make it commercialized. So, for example, we have a final prototype for a solar simulator with a xenon lamp, optical cavity based, and this is industry-based project with a company called REDS, and this company is mainly working with equipments related to lab facilities and R&D and so on. So they are now working toward mass production and toward commercialization. Of course, we are still monitoring the process in order to ensure the standards and so on. but maybe the mass production process is a bit far from our capabilities.
Yeah, well, actually, my question regarding specifically the probe station, because I believe it has no industrial partner till now, or does it have? I don't know.
Yeah,
So,
it doesn't. That's right.
so
It doesn't.
because that is why my question was focused on this explicitly, because I would like to see it go to commercialization with certain industry partner, because this is a patented product. So it would be great to have this. I don't know how, but I was just asking about. You thinking of
I have the same question. I don't know how. So actually, you know that bridging academia to industry is really challenging.
Yes.
Because the level of trust is a learning curve. It's an accumulative process. So transferring ideas outside the lab into commercialization, I believe it needs time. Definitely, what you said is totally correct. That whenever you have a patent, that's facilitate the process. This is
credibility. It gives credibility to the product.
Exactly. However, still you face challenges, because it's not only about the idea; it's about how to grab a market share for this product. And
Exactly.
this is still somehow challenging.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. John, do you have any question you'd like to ask, or do we have any other question in the chat? No, that's okay.
No questions, and
okay.
that is quiet. No question coming there.
Okay. So thank you very much for this really interesting webinar, and for the two presentations, and from the questions from the audience or from John. Thank you, John, for co-moderating this with me. Thank you for accepting the invitation and for your time, and looking forward to more cooperation in the future. And maybe the points that we can work on, the points that John asked about in his questions, we can go further in this direction. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye. Nice.